Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next session or the third session. So in this session, we'll be talking about the types of information system. So if you can remember, in the last session, I talked about the organization, looking at what elements build up an organization, which you saw it was goals, people, and structure. But we also looked at different organization structures that are in place and the organization chart. And now, when we talk about the types of information system, it is when now we are linking the types of information systems with the organization and the different structures that are there. So in this session, we'll look at different ways of classifying information systems based on the organization levels, business functions, and business processes supported. So this is because there are different interests, specialities, and levels in an organization, and there are various kinds of information systems. So if you remember, when we were talking about the organization, I talked about the organization structure, and that the organization structure comes on with different levels. Now, as you can see on this image, we have different levels in the organizations as well as different functions, considering the functional organization structure. So on the top there, you can see we have the strategic level, where we have the senior managers, and then we have the management level, which we have the middle managers, and the operational level, where we have the operational managers. In the senior managers or in the strategic level, this is where strategic decisions are being made in the organization. So for instance, if we take the example of the Institute of Accountancy Arusha, on the top we know we have the rector, but we also have the deputy rectors. So these can be considered as the senior managers of IAA. And then in the next level, we have the middle level, or we have the middle managers. So here is where we will find, for instance, if we take the example of IAA, we can consider the middle managers as the directors and managers who are managing different operational departments. And lastly, we have the operational level, where this is where everything happens in the organization. This is where operations are taking place. And this is where you find different workers in an organization. For instance, if you go to somewhere like A to Z, this is where you find the people who are producing mosquito nets, who are producing the plastic materials, so the operational activities. So with IAA, our operational activities would be now the lecturers and facilitators who are here in the ground training our students. So this brings up the three different levels in an organization. But at the same time, as you can see, although I'll be covering this later, we also have the functional areas where, for instance, here you see the sales and marketing, manufacturing, production, finance and accounting, and human resource, although there are many others. But you can see these operations or these functions, they are present from the lower level to the higher level. So this is where we bring in different information systems that operate at these different levels, but also we'll see the interaction between the different levels. So now in this image here, you can see now the types of information system based on organizational levels. Now you can see we have the operational level as usual, the management level as usual, and the strategic level. Now in the operation level, you can see it's written operational level systems, where you have the order processing system, material movement control, payroll, accounting, payable, employee records keeping. So with respect to the functional areas that have been defined here. But when we come to the management level, we also see we have, for instance, in order processing, in the management level, we have we have the sales management. So here in sales and marketing, at level 1, one of the systems would be order processing. But in level 2, in management level, you see this sales management. And then in level C, in the level 3, the strategic level, you also see 5 years sales trend. So this is how it works. So we have different information systems for every level, but we also have a link between one level and the other. And then on the other side, you can see with the operational level, we have what we call transaction processing systems. In the management level, we have management information systems and decision support systems, while in the strategic level, we have executive support systems. So when we look at the transaction processing systems, these are the systems, just as you've seen in the diagram, that operate at the very lower level of an organization. This is where I would say it's where the magic happens. It's where if it's production of different products and services, that is where it happens. If it is offering services, that is where it happens. And the lead for the operational activities is the operational manager. So here we say operational transaction processing system deals with the operational management, so at the operational level. The purpose is to record and process the daily routine transactions necessary to conduct business. So the daily activities, daily routine, they are being recorded or they are being captured with the transaction processing system. And then function data collection, they are the foundation of all other systems. They provide raw operational data. So for instance, as we train at IAEA, so that is the lower level. So like students understand or don't understand, how many students have been trained, what modules have they covered. So that is the data that is being collected at the transaction processing system level. Examples are point of sale. I think we all know point of sale. When you go to the supermarket, you can use it, but sometimes now they're also used with banks to be able to do your transactions. And also payroll processing. So this is the payment of employees, inventory updates. So for instance, it's a store and they want to manage what is there, or it's a pharmacy. So inventory systems are used and they're at this level. We also have hotel reservation systems, ATM transactions. So all these fall under transaction processing systems, and they are used at the lower level of the organization. Key users, we have clerical staff and supervisors. So those who are doing operational activities are the ones who are going to be using transaction processing system. So an example of transaction processing system when it comes to IAEA is like ISMS, where facilitators use to record students' performance. But also we have the Moodle, which we use to upload learning materials, maybe conduct test and quiz, and provide that feedback from what is happening to the student. Then we have the management information system. So this is for middle management, and in this management information system, so it is used to convert data from transaction processing system into summarized structured reports for monitoring performance and managing operations. So here you have systems that help from the transaction processing system. Now you have the middle manager who would like to see the summary of what has been happening. So monitoring performance. But also data processing and information, they focus on what is happening through routine reports. So you can have a daily report, weekly report, monthly report, showing you what has happened. So from the transactions, so for instance, if it is students being trained, from the transaction you report every day what has been taught and how many students have participated. But when it comes to the management information system, so this will now be a report of maybe daily or weekly, showing how many students have been trained this week, how many modules have been covered, and things like that. Or for instance, if it is in the production, they would report how many products have been produced on daily basis, on weekly basis, but also on monthly basis. Examples, a sales summary report, budget variance reports, performance dashboard, inventory status report. So in most cases, you will find there are systems that would help middle managers having a dashboard just to see what is happening, everything that is happening. And then we have key users would be the middle managers and department heads. The third one is the decision support system, which is also used by middle and senior managers. So in this, it is used to analyze data and models to support semi-structured and unstructured decision making. So with decision support systems, they are able to answer what if questions, analyze if analysis is a key feature. So like with middle decision support systems, analysis is the key feature. So they help you to answer what if questions. Function decision analysis helps answer what if we, and why is this happening. So for instance, you have the transaction processing system showing you how many students have been trained in a week, how many modules have been covered in a week. And then when it comes to management information system, it just gives a summary. It just gives that summary of how many have been trained, how many students have been trained, how many modules have been covered. And then when it comes to decision support system, it gives us an analysis of, okay, this report is saying 200 students have been trained, 3 modules have been taught, but we are supposed to have maybe 500 students trained and then maybe 50 modules trained, facilitated. So here it asks what if, like, why did this happen, and what if, like, why a less number of students was trained, and what if, like, if we make certain adjustments, what would happen? So looking at the main goal of the organization, but now seeing what is happening and how can things be improved. Examples are sales trend analysis, forecasting models, risk analysis softwares, supply chain optimization tools. And another example of this would also be with for those who are aware of social media and social media analytics, where you, like, for instance, the process of sharing, that is, we could group it in the transactional part. You just share a post. For instance, someone wants to sell something online. So you just post it there for visibility and hoping to convert people to sell that product. And then when we come to management, it is where it shows you the number of likes, the number of views, comments. So that is the management. It just shows that this image, how much has gone, how many people have viewed. But when it comes to decision support system, we go now deep into the analytics and really look into the algorithm and how that particular post has reached how many people. And this is where you ask the questions of what if, because if you find that with that analysis, it's showing you that it has not gone as far as you wanted it to go, then you need to ask the what if question so that you can improve, and tomorrow you can be able to gain more visibility and be able to convert those who are viewing your product into actual paying customers. So that's an example of transaction processing, management information system, and decision support system, where at this point is being combined in most of the social media platforms. Key traits: interactive, uses internal data. So it uses data from transaction processing system and management information system, and often external data like market trends, etc. So it uses a combination of data. So since management information system and decision support system are both under the middle level, I thought it was important to show the differences so that it can be clear for you to understand. So for instance, in management information system, it informs and monitor. It answers what is happening and how are we doing compared to the plan. So it performs that monitoring. So what did we plan and what is happening? And then decision support system, it is used to analyze and decide. It answers what if we and why did this happen. So as I explained. And then management information system, structured routine decisions, follow predefined procedures and rules. So management information system is basically focusing on what you had planned. So if you had planned to produce 10 sweaters in a day, so you monitor, like what was planned was 10 sweaters and what has been produced is 9 sweaters. So it focuses on structured routine decisions, follows predefined procedures and rules. But with decision support system, it is semi-structured or unstructured decisions. Problems are complex with no clear-cut procedure. So with decision support system, not necessarily looking at what was planned, but also looking at overall internal and external. Sometimes you planned something, but the environment is saying a different thing. So considering what the environment is saying and what is happening. And then in the management information system, data processing, so standardized information. It summarizes and condenses data from transaction system and into reports. So management information system, it is just summarizing what we capture from transaction information systems. But decision support systems, decision modeling and analysis, it uses data and models to simulate outcomes and evaluate alternatives. So the MIS, Management Information System, it only focuses on data from TPS. But decision support system, it focuses on data from TPS, but also from MIS, but also perform analysis and evaluates the whole situation and look at alternatives so that we can improve. Then again, with management information system, it focused on the present, but decision support system focuses on the future. With MIS, it also fixed schedule reports like daily report, weekly report, monthly report, summary report, exception report, ad hoc reports. So simply, it just reports what is there. But with decision support system, interactive on-demand analysis. So it gives simulation results, what-if analysis, sensitivity analysis, comparative data models. So with decision support system, as I mentioned earlier, it goes beyond. And then with MIS again, uses internal data from TPS and the organization database. So it uses both MIS and TPS results, but also external data like market trends, competitors' data, economic indicators. So you might have decided to produce in a certain way, and that is the plan. But when it comes to competitor analysis, you find that the competitor is producing maybe 3 times more than you. So if you wait for another year to come and improve, then that would be a very long time. That's why the decision support system is there to help you make such decisions. Then we have the executive information system or executive support system. So this is for the senior or executive management. So to provide a broad aggregate view of the entire organization and its external environment for long-term strategic planning. So this is the higher level where strategic decisions are being made. Presents high-level, big picture data in an easy-to-digest format. Digital dashboards, scorecards are there to help. Example, these are enterprise dashboards showing KPIs across all departments, market share analysis, competitors monitoring systems. So for instance, with KPI, this is like when they use balance scorecard, where you can see all the KPIs of the organization, but also how they're being built from the transaction point of view and how the organization is performing. Key traits, highly graphical, drill down capabilities, strong use of external data, economic industry. So here we use a lot of graphs because executives do not have time to read long reports. So they want simple graphs, reports, and trends, and a dashboard that would simplify the process. Now, apart from the, so just as I mentioned, so apart from the, okay, so apart from the different types of information system as mentioned in the hierarchy, so the transaction processing system, and then the management information system and decision support system, as well as the executive support system, we also have these system by function areas, just as we earlier saw in the diagram, where we had the sales and marketing system, manufacturing and production system, finance and accounting system, as well as human resource systems. These are just used as an example, but we also have procurement systems, etc., etc. So with the sales and marketing system, so all with these functional area systems, they cut across, just as we've seen on the pyramid. So they are from the transaction level to the higher executive layer. So for instance, sales and marketing system manage the sales process, customer relations, and campaigns. And then manufacturing and production system, they manage schedules, inventory, quality control, and logistics. Finance, they also track financial assets, cash flows, manage legal things like QuickBook, etc. Human resource system, they manage employees, so payroll, benefits, training, performance. I don't know, someone wants to go on holiday, etc. So these are functional areas, as we have seen in the when we were talking about the organization, but also as we have seen on the diagram, which shows the different managerial levels, but also these functional areas that are present in almost all organizations. But also we have what we call modern integrated specialized system. So currently we have systems that have been built to cut across, and they can serve the whole organization from the lower level to the higher level. An example is the Enterprise Resource Planning, ERP. So this is an integrated suite of applications that serve all functional areas and levels. They use a common central database to unify the organization process. Example, we have the SAP ERP, and then we have the HANA, Oracle Fusion, Microsoft Dynamics. All these are different examples of enterprise resource planning systems that are available out there. A single cells in the CRM module automatically updates inventory, production, general ledger, finance, delivery, everything. So even the executives can really see the data in real time. If they want to see the analysis on real time, they can really see it once you have an ERP system. And then we also have what we call customer relations management systems. So systems that manage a company's interaction with current and potential customers. They consolidate customer data from all touch points into the single view. So example, Salesforce, HubSpot. So supports operational sales tracking, leads, managerial sales pipeline reports, strategic customer profitability analysis, etc. So here you can really see different interactions with the customer, from a potential customer who wants to come and be part of your organization to an existing customer, seeing how you're managing and retaining the customer. And then we have knowledge management systems. So these help us retain and use knowledge within the organization. So systems that help organization create, capture, store, and distribute knowledge and expertise. Example, we have intranet, we have wikis, we have expert systems, we have document management systems that help in helping knowledge management within the organization. And then we have the office automation systems and collaboration systems. So systems designed to improve the productivity of data workers and facilitate teamwork. Example, emails, video conferencing, shared calendar, collaborative documents, editing like Google Workspace, Microsoft 365. So all these help at different levels of the organization. So in summary, so we have the foundation, which is the operational level, where we have the transaction processing system, which captures raw data. And then we have the middle layer, which is a tactical, where we have the management information system and the decision support system. So turns data into reports and analysis for control and decision making. And then we have the top layer, which is the strategic executive information system, provides the big picture view for long-term planning. And then we have the cross-cutting veins like functional systems. We talked about sales, finance, and HR. And the unifying platforms like ERP, integrated data and processing across the entire pyramid and all functions, just as I explained earlier, that with ERP, it is one system, but it integrates all functions in the organization, but also all layers. So automatically in the transaction processing system, when they enter data, it goes straight to the management information system and also straight to the executive support system. But also, it also updates in the different levels in that particular functional area. If it is accounts, then it will go until to the higher level. But lastly, we look at software acquisition, where software acquisition is the comprehensive process of obtaining, deploying, and managing software for an organization, for organization use, whether through purchasing, licensing, subscribing, or developing. So all the softwares that we've been talking about, all the systems that we've been talking about, they need to be acquired. So how are they being acquired? This is what we are talking about. So we have 3 ways of which we do software acquisition. First one is the bespoke, which includes in-house and outsourced. And the second is the off-the-shelf or on-premise or software as a service, where we have standard and tailored. And lastly, we have the user developed. So with the bespoke, where an information system is developed from scratch by an IS professional. So this is where a professional develop an information system for the particular organization. So like we want an accounting system for the organization, so we develop it from scratch. And the development can either be in-house or outsourced. When you say outsourced, you ask someone else from outside to develop it for you. Benefits can be tailored to precise business needs. So if you go for bespoke, it means you can develop a software specific for your organization. So that is the benefit. But also proprietary system may be core business assets that competitors cannot match. So you can develop a system that is the best and just for your organization, and competitors might not have a similar system, meaning that they won't get similar results. But it has its challenges, which includes costs. It is more expensive to develop it yourself. It is time consuming, but also sometimes you can have issues with quality. Maybe bugging can be there because of insufficient testing, or may not meet business requirements, often due to poor analysis of system requirements, but also challenges with the developers themselves, especially when you are doing it in-house. Then you can purchase off the shelf, so direct purchase of a pre-written application used by more than one company. So you just go and buy it. So mostly it has wide functionalities and few bugs because it has been tested and tested and tested, and so many people have used, so they keep improving it. But also it is cheaper than bespoke, so cheaper than developing it yourself. Challenges may offer features not needed, so sometimes you get so many features that you don't need, but you still pay for. Requires business process to be organized in a particular way. So for you to use an off-the-shelf system, it means sometimes you need to align your business operations to that particular system because it was not tailored specifically for you. But also may have inflexible, unsuitable features which you don't need, as I mentioned earlier. And some package software can be tailored to some extent to suit particular business requirements, usually done by the maintainer. So sometimes For instance, before SMS, we used to have a system called SARIS. So SARIS is a platform that was made for someone, but different institutions would go and get it off the shelf. But then now they could customize according to your needs. When you go and get it from them, they customize it, they put all features that you want, and now then it can fit with your organization. And then we have the end user development software, which is written by a non-IS professional. So you might experience challenges in the organization and decide to build a software for yourself. So these are things like you can use spreadsheet, Excel. You can develop small databases, for instance, using Microsoft Access. You can develop a website for your own organization. So advantage is that there will be good fit between the user requirements and the system. Disadvantage, they may be the use of inappropriate software tools. Maybe you cannot handle a large amount of data that is being produced in your organization. They are also hard to maintain because most of them don't follow standards, but also they might have a lot of bugs because of lack of knowledge. Remember, this is being built by someone who might not be an expert, but also little or no design, planning, or documentation, because since they are developed by someone who is not a professional, proper system analysis might not be done, and also documentation might not be available. But also, when we come to you guys as studying BAIT, sometimes, as much as you will also be professionals, you might be in a position to develop systems for your organization. Just like what I'm challenging you with our group assignment, where with the knowledge that we have, we are developing a solution to go and solve a certain problem. So it is an example of end user developed software. And then we have factors affecting software acquisition, time, where like, when do you want the software? Do you have time to wait for someone to develop it for you? Do you want it immediately so it is easier for you to go and take off the shelf? Second is costs. Developing yourself usually has very high cost compared to off the shelf. But also the one that is developed by people who are not professionals, that would also be way, way cheap, but with a lot of challenges. That is just useful for like small activities that don't need integration, don't carry a lot of data. But also issue of quality with those that are developed with unprofessionals or sometimes in-house, they can have a lot of bugs. They can have a lot of challenges in terms of quality, and they might not be fit for the business needs. In addition, other factors affecting software acquisition is also organization size. The larger the organization, the more complex the system. In-house or IS/IT experts, what experts do you have? Can also determine the type of softwares that you acquire. IS/IT expertise among end users. So how knowledgeable are the end users? Are they comfortable with the tech? Are they tech savvy? Can they use any platform that is brought to them? Because sometimes if they are not very comfortable, you can bring a certain solution and it doesn't work for them. Linking with existing application softwares, amount of integration required. So if you're purchasing a software that needs to be integrated with other available softwares, then you have to be very careful with the type of acquisition that is being chosen. Because not all softwares are interoperable. Like, unless they are built based on a certain standard, sometimes they cannot work together. The next one is complexity of the required system. So if it is a complex system, obviously, you will be, despite the cost and everything, you will be so attentive to how you're going to acquire it. And then uniqueness of the required system. So if you want your system to be very unique, or if it is performing operations that are not common, then you'll also need to have a great consideration as you acquire that particular software. So that's the end of the session. I hope it is clear. If you have any question, you can write on the chat, but you can also contact me and I can give the clarification.